Lesson 23 is all about equivalent equations and the additive property of equality. Now, when we look at this lesson, what we're trying to do is solve problems like we have here. First one is x minus 3 is equal to 12. So what we're saying is some number minus 3 is equal to 12. Well, if we take away 3 from some number, what number must that be to equal 12? You may have been able to solve this one mentally. You may have been able to say 15 minus 3 is equal to 12. And if you're able to do that mentally, that's fantastic. So x is equal to 15, and that would be our final answer. Now another way we could look at this problem would be to say x minus 3 is equal to 12. And then in order to figure out what x must be equal to, we want to get x by itself, so we need to move this 3 over to the other side. The inverse of subtraction is addition, so we're going to add 3 to both sides. And we're going to get 12 plus 3 is equal to 15. Negative 3 plus 3 is equal to 0. So we get x plus 0 is equal to 15, or x is equal to 15. And we have our final answer. Same thing as we had before, just a different way to solve it. Now using this, when we add 3 to both sides, is a very nice method to use when the problems get a little bit more complex. Let's look at our next one. Let's say we have k plus 2 1/3 is equal to 2 ninths. Now if we have this problem, we're adding something to 2 1/3 to get us to 2 ninths. That's a little bit more difficult to do mentally. So a good strategy will be to do the opposite of addition, or the inverse of addition, that's subtraction. So we're going to subtract 2 1/3 from each side, because 2 1/3 minus 2 1/3 is equal to 0. What we do on one side, we do on the other side, so minus 2 1/3. And we're going to have k plus 0 is equal to, and we're going to write it out horizontally, 2 ninths minus 2 1/3. Now we can go ahead and solve for k, because we know k plus 0 is the same thing as k. Let's go ahead and do the math. Now, 2 ninths minus 2 1/3, 2 1/3. We've got to have the same denominator. 2 1/3 is going to be the same as 2 and 3 ninths. So now our problem is looking a little bit better because we have the same denominator. But if we look at this, 2 ninths minus 2 and 3 ninths, oh, that looks a little bit complicated. Let's line it up vertically. 2 ninths minus 2 and 3 ninths. Well, if we go ahead and solve this one, we can see we've got a bit of an issue as we go through this problem. One trick that we can use to help us to solve will be to change this mixed number to an improper fraction. Let's look at that. 2 ninths minus 2 times 9 is 18, plus 3 more is 21, so minus 21 ninths. If we look at it this way, it becomes a little bit easier to think about. So now we have 2 minus 21. If we have 2 minus 21, that must be equal to negative 19. Then we have negative 19 over 9, because our denominator stays the same. We can change that into a mixed number again. Our problem started out with a mixed number, so we should end with a mixed number. That's going to be equal to negative 2 and 1/9. And we have our answer. Okay? If we go ahead and solve this one, we can report it as negative 2 and 1/9. We could also report it as negative 19 ninths, but I prefer the mixed number because we started with mixed numbers rather than improper fractions. So this is one way we can solve this type of problem. We're going to practice more of these in our lesson practice, page 101, during our next class. Make sure you've got your notes completed. This was a short lesson, but make sure you've got those notes done. Okay, I will see you soon. Have a nice afternoon.